Well, you know what? I am going to get started anyway, and then when
why settle for the mediocre?
No, I'm not.
And
I can't. I just have to
magnificent
let him.
is available. Why go for mere success?
Let me see if he can do it some other way.
Why settle?
You'll hear the start, he says. All right. He says we'll hear the start.
Okay.
Are you sure you want to kick this person out? I don't really want to kick you out, Mr. Belay. All righty. Okay. Are you seeing my video, Laura?
I can see you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is we're just going to talk about today. What we're going to talk about is our physical environment, and does it really matter if it's full of clutter or it's not? Does it really matter if it's beautiful or if it's not? I mean, sometimes I think we don't think about these things. And I want to tackle this problem, and I might repeat this again, but I want to tackle this issue because I have been so resistant to decluttering, taking the time to organize my space. I tend to accumulate up books and papers and stuff. And I'm not a hoarder by any sense of the stretch of the imagination, but I have known to kind of just move things around, you know, and make little spaces for myself because I don't want to take the time to do what I got to do in order to create that space. And as you know, I'm moving to a totally new location. So I've been downsizing and decluttering for the past 2 years on and off. And it has been so good, but it took me forever to even attempt it because I would get so overwhelmed thinking about it. It just seemed like and I think that's the thing, Laurel, and I'm going to introduce you in a second. But I think the thing is that I think there's a lot of people that just think the job is too big and they just end up accumulating things, right? Rather than taking the time and knowing the benefit of it. So today I'm going to have you talk about, you know, what is it about stuff and space?
Mm-hmm.
All right. What is it? Because there's something even physical and energetic and physics about it, isn't there?
There is. And it's really incredible because every single item in your environment actually has an invisible cord attached to you, and it's telling you something.
Oh my gosh. That is awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great realization and a good picture too. Well,
yeah, because when you think of it that way, it's, you know, it's telling you something, whether it's a good something or a bad something or hurry up and get that work done something, whatever it is, it's talking to you.
Hey, look it, he's on. Okay.
I don't know what happened, but it did happen. So there, I'm sorry to interrupt. Hi, Laura.
Hi.
This is our producer, Blade. Well, Blade, do you want to get the radio show started, get the music going, do the whole thing you do, and then I am going to just formally introduce this show, okay?
Never official until it's official. Am I right?
Right.
Go.
For the mundane, mediocre, and meaningless. When magnificence is available, why go for mere success when you were born for magnificence? Now, broadcasting on Radio Star Worldwide, it's time for Your Magnificent Life in Business with Marianne Amen. Listen in and be encouraged and elevated as Marianne and her guests transparently share how they have overcome obstacles, developed profitable, purpose-driven businesses, and fulfilled once buried or shelved dreams. And now here's your host, Marianne.
So come on, let me dream for you. I am strong
Right.
when you're weak.
So this is Marianne Amen, and this is the Magnificent Life and Business Radio Show, and we're doing two things at the same time. We're here on Blab, which I love. I've just love this new technology, and we're also on the Star Worldwide Radio Network. And so we're doing both things today. And what I'd like to do is bring to the table here discussion, people that are going to help with anything magnificent. And one of the places that we spend a lot of time is in our office spaces and in our homes. And sometimes our life can get very confusing if our physical environment is not at a place where it's conducive to thinking clearly, to creativity, to organization, to simplicity. And so that takes up a lot of headroom. I was not convinced of this. I know people said it, they talked about it, but I didn't believe it. I honestly didn't believe it. And I never felt like I had enough time to organize my space or to declutter or to have it even look like I wanted it to look. So I invited Laurel Collins. Laurel, can you just tell a little bit about yourself and what you do? And she's going to help me talk about this. And I would love interaction from anybody who wants to get it. One other thing I wanted to say is that on the right-hand side of the screen, you can make your comments. If you have a question, put the letter Q/ and then your question, and then I know that is a question. And I'll probably answer questions in a bunch rather than keep interrupting the flow. Okay? So tell us, dear, who you are and what you do.
Okay, well, I'm Laurel Collins, and I'm the Beautiful Living Coach, and I call myself that because I really believe in living in beautiful environments, and I just have always loved aesthetics, and I've always had businesses where, just the way things looked was important. I've worked as a hairdresser for many years. I worked in the film industry as a wardrobe stylist and as a decorator, and started getting into feng shui when I was working as a decorator. And that's when I really became aware of, what is happening in your environment and how it's helping or hindering people. And so that's when I've come forward now as really wanting to teach people about the importance of their environment and how you need to have an environment that supports and nurtures your goals and your dreams for your life.
Okay, you need an environment that supports and nurtures your goals and dreams. Now, I think that's a disconnect for a lot of people. I don't think about how their physical environment can actually support their goals and their dreams. Like they're two separate things. So tell us about that.
I know, it's true. So many people have no concept. And this is what I was beginning to realize. And this is why I wanted to talk about this in my life. I see people all the time going to events, self-development, personal development, wanting to better themselves in their lives. I see people going for treatments, therapies, massages, all kinds of things to change something about their life. And then they go home to their environment or back to their business environment or whatever it is. And it's exactly the same. And everything just sort of slips away. You need to create an environment that supports, solidifies those intentions that you have when you're going out to do these trainings or whatever work it is that you're doing to transform your life. Make your environment, make it represent that in your environment.
Now, I can understand when, if your desk is cluttered and you can't find things and you're so disorganized and you spend too much time trying to look for this or that. But what we're talking about is even going beyond that. I think that you're talking, you started off a little while ago. And for those of you who are just joining us, we're talking about how to create a physical environment that supports your dreams and your goals, basically. So you were talking about how every object is got like this invisible cord or something like that that's tied to us. Tell us about that.
That is about the easiest way to explain it. And so when you think about it, everything that you have around you, these glasses tell me that I can't see very well. That broom leaning up against the walls telling me I should do some sweeping. That pot on the stove reminds me I'm going to do some cooking. Like just the car, I'm going to go for a drive. Everything is telling you something that picture from your wedding is reminding you of your wedding. It's pretty basic.
Okay,
You know,
okay.
everything you look at it, when you look at it, it's giving you a message. It's just whether your subconscious brain or your conscious brain is registering what that message is.
Okay, so if you're in a cluttered room, you're getting bombarded.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why it's so overwhelming. And that's why being in clutter, even if you can't see it, but you know it's near you, it's actually creating this negative energy, which creates this friction, which is even more depleting than just, you know, normal activities. So it's very damaging and depleting.
So, all right. So I'm moving into a brand new space, as you know, and I'm going from right now we have a large home and we have a barn and we have a full basement and we have 2 attics. And you better believe it. I mean, they're not crammed with stuff, and certainly not anymore because we had to get the house in shape to show it. So what they say is simple is better, right? Less is more.
That's right. And part of that is because you're taking your life out of it so that the person that wants to potentially move in can imagine their own life there. That's why the realtors tell you to do that. Take away the personal items.
Exactly. And it seemed to work because, you know, we sold the house pretty quickly, but now it's trying to make a decision of what we're going to take, what we're going to put in storage, because this is not going to be our permanent dwelling that we're going to be in for the next year, what to give away, what to sell. And so do you have a baseline criteria that a person can, you know, go by in trying to make those decisions?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like when you look at the items, like, do you need it? Do you love it? You know, is it important to you? And that could include a lot of things like family photos or certain things that you still do need to get rid of. And so then there's other little systems you can use where you could actually take photos of things and file them away in your hard drive or something. So you could still keep the items or a visual of it. But that's sort of a basic criteria. Do you really need it? Do you really love it?
Do you need it, and do you really love it? Now I know people
that make you feel good.
I know people have stacks and stacks of newspapers and magazines because they actually believe they will need it. And they get reinforced, like maybe years go by and then all of a sudden they're thinking, where was that recipe? Where is that article? I know it's here someplace. And even with the internet, you know, where you can access almost anything at any given time. And then they'll have decluttered and they'll go, I knew I should have kept that thing.
I know. And that's why we have Pinterest, because now they can just go take a picture of that article and they can go put it on their Pinterest board. You know, like saving things online now is so great. And I want to say too, that just because you have some stacks of magazines or stacks of newspapers doesn't necessarily mean clutter. If it gets to be like hoarding, that's a whole other story. But you still want to have the things around you. If you love those magazines and you need to keep a couple stacks around, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So I just really want to clarify. I'm not talking like minimalist here. I'm talking about does it make you feel really good?
Okay, and that's a really good criteria. Does it make you feel really good? So sometimes, you know, there are people who like a lot of clutter and a lot of stuff all around them because that does make them feel good. There is certain things. So I think everybody's different in that regard, aren't they?
Everybody's different, and absolutely and that's where beautiful living is completely whatever is beautiful to you. It's not like I don't have a criteria of what's beautiful. I mean, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And so beautiful living is your interpretation, whatever you love. And a lot of people live with things that make them feel guilty. And so this is a huge thing. Most of us are keeping things because, you know, we inherited it, or it was a gift and you just feel bad getting rid of it. And I'm sure you had a lot of those types of things where you just feel like you should keep them.
Do you know, we've been married almost 31 years, and I have a wedding gift that I keep around that I've never used once.
I believe it.
What do you think I should do with it?
Well, I think you should re-gift it to somebody. If you've never used it, are you moving it to your new home?
No, I was going to put it in storage.
Are you really? Wow. So is this from somebody that you really have a strong connection to?
You know what? I don't even remember who it's from.
Okay, then you must wrap it up and give it to somebody Don't, you don't need to keep that hanging around. That's so crazy if you don't even remember who it came from. But I understand. And you are one of many, many, many people who do the exact same thing. I've had it for so long. And that's my other goal, is to open up people's eyes to what am I keeping in my house? And we get so used to walking past things that are actually keeping us stuck in our past. And we need to shift it up. We need to see what's there. Do I like it? No, I'm just used to it. So get it out of here.
Well, and I think that's the dilemma. And every time, when you look at something, the hardest decision is, what do I do with this? I'll give you an example, and you can give me, maybe other people have the same scenario. So when we were married, I got this beautiful Royal Dalton China set, tea set, coffee pot, and plates and coffee cups with it, right? And it's a very delicate thing. I'm a mug person. I like the nice, sturdy, it can be pretty, but it's got to be sturdy. These are delicate, these are delicate. So I've used them like twice in my life, but I could never, ever sell them for what it is that they're worth,
Yeah.
What would I do? And they don't seem like, it doesn't seem right to just give it to a thrift store, Goodwill,
No, you're right. And you probably won't get exactly what it's worth, but is it really worth taking up the space? And you can share it for somebody. If you sell it on eBay or Etsy or something like that, and put it back out into the world for someone who really will love it.
Okay, that's a good idea, because I would love somebody who would love it to have it, because it did come from somebody that was important to me. Hang on one second. I think that Blade, were you showing us something there?
Pictures of
Like
hoarders.
a pile of clutter or something, was that?
Oh yeah, it was a hoarder picture.
Oh, I thought that was yours.
No, it's not mine. I don't have any. I don't have anything. Okay, I want to ask Laurel this, because I have nothing in my house. Nothing, and it's
Empty house. Oh, okay. Well, see, that's not good either, because you need to have a little bit of something that represents you, that makes your home feel like your home. I hope you have something.
well, no, I don't, and I don't. Because I have, my counters are clean, and I have a couple of pieces of furniture and a stereo and a TV, and I just love that. And so that sends me no subliminal messages, I guess, from what you're saying, right? Which means I'm empty-headed, which is true. So.
Well, well, not exactly, because you've got a stereo and a TV, and you've got a few things that represent exactly what you want in your life. So perfect. Well done.
Do you like it that way, Blade?
I do.
Okay. There's no problem then.
I have epic battles with the wife, constantly. I'm throwing this out. Well, no, you're not. Well, yes, I am. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. So I have that, but still I win most of those battles.
But now if you have not much left, there's not much to throw out. So
well, yeah.
That'll save those arguments a little bit.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, what if we move? Then we'll have nothing to move. And so that's cool too. And here's another thing, is memorabilia. How important is memorabilia to people? Because it's just not very important to me.
It's important to a lot of people, but sometimes a little bit too important. And that's the thing, is that a lot of these things can keep you stuck in the past. We all do hang on to things, and that's where you really need to take a look at it. Is it actually keeping you from moving forward in your life? Because that's happened to me. I've stayed stuck. You were talking, Marianne, about it's hard to get rid of things. And so I had a basement full of kids' clothes, just memorabilia, kids' clothes, things that you think you're going to tend to, anything like that. It's totally holding you back. Memorabilia keeping you stuck in your high school days or something on a certain level. And there are a lot of people who just have never really been able to move far forward from that, just because they keep themselves stuck.
When I homeschooled my kids, so I had kept a lot of their projects and artwork and things like that, and when I was sorting through things, I get really kind of misty-eyed as I reminisced on those days, and I missed those times and so forth. And all of a sudden it struck me, wait a minute, I have an amazing relationship with my kids now. Mm-hmm. That's better today than it was then. Why do I have to hang on to these things, So I kept a few things, but for the most part, that gave me the permission to just really let it go. And I think what you're saying, is that sometimes we hang on to things because the life we have right now is not as good as the life we had back then, or at least in our minds.
In our minds, yeah.
You know, so that might be a clue. Then
everybody's different.
Yeah. Or create a new life for yourself. Create a life of your that you do like.
It took you 2 years to get through that stuff, and so this stuff it can be very emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to that, for some reason, when you say memorabilia, I'm thinking like high school kind of stuff. But I know it could be like from bands that you saw. It could be all kinds of things. Items from raising your children, previous jobs, anything like that. It all brings up emotion, and that's why we avoid dealing with it, because it is it's draining, it's emotional, it's just exhausting.
It's true. So give us the positive though. So what makes it worse?
What makes it worse is that if you don't attend to it, it just keeps building and compiling and keeping you more and more exhausted and overwhelmed, and you lose your creativity. It's just so detrimental. I've lived through it myself, where my clutter in my basement full of kids' clothes, toys, ski equipment, everything like that I was just piling up in my basement was keeping me so stuck that I couldn't even see the vision that I wanted for my future. And it would come home every day from work and just be exhausted the minute I walked in the door. I didn't even have to see that stuff. I knew it was there. You finish work and you come home and there's more work. You got to just start digging away at it slowly. And the thing is, there's so many people now, clutter clearing experts, organizers.
That brings up a good point. When I started doing this, I actually had a friend come and work. She came for 10 days and actually worked with me while I was doing this. And she got me started. So that's something that you do. I mean, when you are having guidance and you having somebody say to you, do you really need that? Do you really want that? Is that, and somebody who's helping you make those decisions like you do, it's like invaluable. Otherwise you stay stuck forever, So I think, hiring somebody like you is just like godsend.
It's helpful for sure, because sometimes people need to have the get rid of right away box, the maybe box, and the keep box, and you have to kind of rotate things through, and it takes a while. And having somebody to help you really, like, do you really need that? And just sort of question you on some things, and maybe take you through a process
without judging you.
Without judging at all.
Judging you, yeah.
No judgment.
Right. Judgment-free zone.
It's interesting because it's just, once I start talking to people about what is in their environment, it's like, why do you have that picture of that sad, lonely woman there? What does that say to you? Just when you start to ask people, what does that represent for you? And if, for example, that woman is trying to find a relationship and every day she's looking at a picture of a sad, lonely woman, it's sending a message to her subconscious, I stay lonely.
Right.
That's a simple kind of an explanation, but you get the point.
So what should she have instead? You
should have symbols around you that represent what you want. And I don't mean you have to have pictures of couples, but you could have things in pairs.
That's good.
It could be two birds. It could be just things that represent pairings, relationships.
Oh my gosh.
I represent that one for you. It's up to interpretation too, right? Like something that represents relationship to me will be different than it is for you.
So I never saw the connection between, if you want to, because I have several clients that want to have, they're ready now for long-term relationship. And so having somebody like you come into their life, into their, because I know you do virtual work too, where you can take Skype and go around somebody's house or apartment. And once you find out what somebody's goals are, what their dreams are, what they're trying to attain, you can look around that environment and say, that's not working for you, but that is, or this one instead, right?
That's what I love about what I do, because it's like a surprise every time. Okay, what will I uncover? And especially because I'm incorporating the feng shui. So I'm using the Bagua map, where every part of your home or office is represented by a different part on this map. So we can see where you have things placed based by the map and where you have blockages and how it's affecting you. And so I just can look with a different set of eyes, ask you questions, because like I said, something might actually be a positive message for that person. But I will question you on it though.
Sure. Well, I want to open up this for questions. But before that, I just want to make sure Blade had to take off on our call. Can you imagine? Last week, he just disappeared. I don't know where he went. And then I find out, God forbid, that his wife had a baby.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
That was amazing. So tell us, Blade, tell us about your baby girl.
Laurel, you missed it. It was 5 minutes before the end of the show last week. And I had to go because I got the call.
Wow.
And I had to go, poor Marianne. And, the show was still going for 30 minutes after the show was supposed to end. What do I say now? All right. But so
you had to go for that.
Terribly awkward. But yeah, so I got the call about 5 minutes until 7.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's what it was. Yeah. And I called my wife and she said, well, I think it's time. Well, that's pretty much an indication that it's time. I think it's time is an affirmation that it's time, right?
I think it's I've got some news for you. Your clutter-free zone might change a little bit now.
Oh, that's all changed. Yeah.
These come with a lot of stuff.
Well, I have neighbors that have baby stuff all over the house. I mean, it's a mess.
Yeah.
And I can totally understand because there's so many tools now. There's a good word. There's so many tools for kids now and all kinds of equipment. There's another term, and it's all over the place. And so it's hard to keep it organized, I'm sure. And some people don't care, it's like and some people are organized when they throw it on the floor because that's where they left it and that's where they know where it is. But
yeah, it's true. It's whatever. But it is nice, though, if you have some systems in place for your equipment to throw it all in a basket at the end of the day. So you could at least have like 20 minutes of relaxing time in your home before you go to bed. It's nice to have some storage options for that stuff.
We do have that. And see, my wife planned completely ahead for all that. We have compartments and chests of drawers and little slots and places for folded diapers and throw up towels and, formula bottles. And it's really, really well organized, but you can't see any of it. It's all in its own spot. So.
Yeah. And that works really well until the kid gets to be like a toddler and they want to play with their own things. And then you just need some larger containers and train them young to put the things away when they're done playing. And I'm sure your wife's going to do that.
Excellent point.
Yeah. It's true. They can learn very early to Polly Pocket goes in this box, or whatever the toys are that the kids play with now. But train them early to just put it away.
That's right, because Daddy will not have a cluttered house. He won't, and that's going to be it's going to be very clear. And Mommy's the same. There'll be no cluttered house. So that's what we'll do. We'll start them early,
and then you won't have that chaos in your head all the time. You'll be zen-like at all times.
That's right.
I'm happy for you.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. No.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations. And you had a very valid excuse for disappearing on me, for abandoning me that way.
Abandoning you. I know. I'm sorry. I wanted to apologize about that. But God.
No, I'm congratulations.
Thanks,
very happy for you.
Well, thanks.
Well, we're going to take some questions now. Is there anybody in the audience there? I think Rocco Steady wanted to ask something. He tried to get in a minute ago. I don't know if he still does because he has got a new house, he said. Don't know if he's still on board here, but if he is, oh, there he is. I'm going to let him in. Here we go.
All right.
Hey there. Nice to meet you. What's your name?
Rocco.
Rocco.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Thank y'all so much for putting this together. It's very opportune since I don't have much in my new place, and I definitely understand the whole concept of decluttering and simplification. And it's a brand new start. It's a brand new chapter, and honestly, it's kind of scary because I literally got rid of like my whole house and kept like nothing, kept like my clothes. That's like maybe 20% of my clothes. I lost all my furniture on in a flood. And so I'm in this new place, and it's actually my first home. When I was 1 month old, I was shipped off to the Philippines to stay with 10 different family members. And I either slept on the couch, the floor, or on the bed with 5 people. And then my parents took me back when I was 11 years old. So I stayed with 10 different homes, and then came back to my family. And then I got kicked out when I was 14. So I've actually identified home with abandonment and pain, which has resulted in a lot of self-sabotage as far as creating a home for myself. And this is a new opportunity for me to create a home for myself. I've done a lot of soul searching and a lot of healing my inner child. A lot of benefit came out of the experience because I'm able to adapt in any situation and get along with everyone. But this one statement would describe my situation perfectly. It's, I feel at home everywhere, but I'm always searching for home. And so I'm in this space right now, as you can see. Look, it's like it's empty space for me to start brand new.
Well, I'd like to say something, Rocco, because what you said was that home always represented abandonment to you and some negative issues, and it's so very profound that you've lost all of your belongings, because it's very meaningful. They're gone. Like whatever home used to be for you, it's not abandonment anymore. It's going to now move forward and with positive, with your new space, and you want to be really cautious, I understand, and you want to put things in there that just mean nurturing, loving, and your life from now on. So congratulations, that's so exciting.
It is. I just want to applaud you too, because the journey that you're talking about, I'm sure, has not been an easy one. And for you to try to understand why this has happened to you and how to move forward, kudos to you. That is awesome. Congratulations. Really, keep up the good work.
Thank you. I've been blessed. Do y'all have any advice as far as sticking everything in a studio apartment?
Go ahead, Laurel. What do you have to? It's a studio. Is that what you? How many square feet is it?
It's 500 square feet, and then I have this chair, and then I have this couch. And I'll put a bed right here.
So you need to get a bed. Sometimes people use a Murphy bed or a sofa bed.
I already bought a big old queen size bed because I've never had a bed before.
Oh, nice. Okay, you got to have that then. Make sure you get some amazing, comfortable bedding as well.
Yeah. I went all out on a bed, so I just don't know where I'm going to put it. I just know I'm going to put it in here.
Well, it's true. 500 square feet is not a lot. Do you have a table to eat at or anything like that, or is it a counter? But it's still a good amount of space, though. You can do it.
I just eat right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Eating at your sofa? Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you have a little kitchen in there?
Yeah, see.
You know what
Is there a little bar counter? Can you sit at the bar or anything like that? Or is it just open right onto
I could create a little bar right here.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it's nice to have your own little eating zone. Sitting on a couch isn't always the best position for digestion, but if you could sit at the counter, might not be bad.
Okay.
It's kind of nice to separate the little areas, and it's kind of like little rituals that you have, eating your meals and watching TV. It's kind of nice to separate them if you can.
Okay.
And the rituals, that's part of what beautiful living is about. It's about making the best of every little ritual of your life, such as eating or relaxing on the TV or getting a good sleep.
I remember when I lived in a studio when I used to go to, when I was in law school, I lived in basically the inner city in a studio apartment. And I had a separate kitchen, but the one room had my living space and my place for my bed. And I tried to make the bed look as much like a piece of furniture rather than just a bed. So to have a bunch of pillows and to have a nice comforter on it, so that, and I try not to get anything too bedroomy. I made it so it kind of fit in with the living room furniture also, but it had its own little nook, create its own little space, and where I watch TV and entertained was in another little space, even though it was all one room, you know? So I think defining
it's nice to kind of create those zones, like you say, but still make it all work together.
right.
And, yeah, because in a small space like that, because you don't have a little nook or anything, so lots of pillows on your bed so you could be on there watching TV and relaxing, or having friends on the sofa, because you probably want to do some entertaining too, have some friends over in your new space.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, make it nice and comfortable for everybody.
The only nooks I see are right here. You see that nook right there?
Oh yeah.
So I see like a office right there, and then I see a nook over there for my bedroom.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that looks great. Definitely put a little desk in that corner, and that's a whole other story, sitting at your desk and getting at the power seat, and just make sure you don't have your back to the door when you're sitting at your desk. Just position yourself so that you can see all around you. Do you work from home?
Yeah, I do.
So then you're saying that maybe his chair needs to be in the corner and his desk out, so he's facing into the room.
Yeah, if you could configure it that way so that you're sitting with a commanding view of your studio, that will give you a lot more of a commanding presence at your desk.
You wouldn't recommend a corner desk?
I wouldn't. No, I would maybe find something maybe on an angle, as long as you can look out onto the room and don't look into the corner. Don't position yourself looking into the corner, whatever you do.
Okay.
How about positioning the desk looking outside, like with a window?
I think that's good too, as long as you can still see around the room, as long as the door's not right behind you. Like it's for the subconscious mind, it's that safety that you know what's happening. If you hear noises and you're always having to turn, just wondering what's going on behind you, it can take its toll on your neck and your calmness.
Well,
and your focus.
I like how you just said, it gives you a more commanding presence when you're looking out.
It does.
Yeah.
If you're sitting and you can just see everything that's going on, and you could be working, but you know that you can see everything around you. If it's happening behind your back and you're hearing noises, it's so unsettling. Like, just if you have anybody that's listening has that in their office where they work, if they notice that it's unsettling when they hear somebody walk by, you want to look, you want to see what's going on. It's just our natural defense mechanism.
That's some good advice right there. What about what is your concept behind working and then seeing your bed?
It makes you really tired. And so Marianne has a really good point where you cover up the bed somehow so that it does look more like a piece of furniture, because again, it's consciously, that that's my bed and that's for sleeping later. I'm working right now, but your subconscious brain doesn't know that. It's thinking, ooh, sleep. So that's the whole thing about these invisible cords and the messages that are being told. You're not always aware of it. And so that's where you have to consciously make the decision to place things intentionally that support how you want to be living and working in your environment.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And I did mention about Marie Kondo's book, and that's a great book too.
Oh yeah, Marie Kondo. I just read that book.
I would also say that the attitude you want to have is really look at all of this rather than feeling scared by it, that you can't make a mistake here. Have the attitude, you can't make a mistake here. You can only learn and get feedback. So if something's not working so well for you, and even if you sabotage, continue to say to yourself, I'm getting feedback. And life is an adventure. And what you've already been through, how you've already lived in the past, you can choose what you're going to go forward with, but you don't have to be perfectionistic, and it doesn't have to be where you got to get it all exactly right. Okay. I say play with it.
A good point. Excellent point. Yeah.
Play with it. So good luck to you. God bless you. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much. Y'all be easy.
You too. Bye-bye.
In those studio apartments, haven't we all had one of those one time? I used the porch, and he had one too for my second bedroom.
Oh yeah.
Use the what?
the porch. You know how there's
right.
yeah, I used it for my second bedroom. I put chairs. And, yeah, that was my living.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've all, I think, had one of those. I just actually set up my oldest daughter in a little studio apartment. She's going to school, so that was really fun. I love to decorate. So
you're really good at it too. I wanted to just comment to Marketing Millennial 1. I don't know if you saw her little comment there. I'm a married woman with a painting of a lonely woman. It doesn't give me joy when I look at it. Yeah, so hopefully there's a realization there. And
she's a married woman with a painting of a lonely woman, and it doesn't give her joy. Well, there, you've opened up your eyes to something that isn't a good message for you, and I would say take it down. Take it down and go find something that gives you joy.
Right. Yeah. So I had a couple more questions for you before we get off. So when we're moving into our new apartment, so I said I've got all this stuff and we're paring us all down. We got it in the truck. We get to our apartment, and gosh, I haven't lived in an apartment I think since I was well, it's been a long time. Anyway, what would be the first room to set up for you?
For me, probably the bedroom, just because when I arrive, I'm going to want to have a good sleep that night. So I think I would definitely
start because we don't have a bed yet. We're getting rid of our bed. We're getting a new one. So before that comes, we'll probably have to sleep on the sleeper couch. So maybe that's what we put up, is just a sleeper couch, the couch.
Yeah. If you do have one of those, then set up your living room. But I like to sort of feel it out a little bit, because sometimes you think this is going to go here and this is going to go there. And then when you get into the space and you start living in the space, you realize that you actually want to put things in different places than you thought. So again, like you were saying to Rocco, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just kind of get in there and start feeling the space and how you want to be living in it. And it'll intuitively kind of come how you want to place things and what's just naturally working.
I developed a little bit of a criteria for myself as well, that, and I'm not an expert by any means in the whole physical environment thing, but what I have noticed is that when I started paying attention to my physical environment and what I want, for example, when I was choosing this particular apartment, because I looked at a lot of different places. So what were the most important things to me? And I think that's what everybody has to look at, is what's the most important thing? And I wanted a place that the physical environment outside the apartment was beautiful. I wanted to be able to see foliage. I wanted to be able to see mountains, and where is it that we can walk easily or bike easily. So that was a criteria. And having a place that accommodated my workshops, to have a complex that has a really nice conference room, that was important to me, but that doesn't have anything to do with my apartment itself, But and then flow. I wanted a layout where the kitchen opened up into the rest of that living space. So I don't like the galley kitchens, or some people are fine with that, but I don't. So I think that, and do you agree that you have to know who you are in a lot of ways?
So true. And you should have a list of all the things that you would want in your perfect home. Mm-hmm. And then you will have some that you could cross off the list if you have to. And then you have to have some that are like the deal breakers. And there's just certain things that you just can't live without. Generally, you don't get everything. But I think it makes a huge difference if you know what you want and what you'll accept or not accept. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you need to do that decluttering like you did. You went through your 2 years of clearing out your house before you really got clear on what you wanted for your next step. Mm-hmm. And you thought you were going to move somewhere else, and then you've ended up moving to Scottsdale. So once you were clear from the past and you had your criteria and you could see it, then it appeared what you wanted. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, I never even thought about it like that, but that's true. It is. Mm-hmm.
And because all that stuff keeps you stuck, you can't really fully see what you want or need or be open to possibility even. And so you want to clear the old stuff out clear up the bad stuff and just be open to the new and the possibilities in the future, and who knows what, because you never know what tomorrow will bring.
Well, and that's reminding me that when we were in this process of trying to decide where we're going to go and then thinking it's going to be California, our hardest, the hardest thing we had to deal with was we live right smack dab in the middle of 4 acres. So all around us is a sea of landscaping and beauty and wildlife and so forth, So I'm thinking, all right, if we move out west where the spaces are smaller, unless you buy lots and lots of property, and I don't want to be out in the middle of nowhere, I'm going to have a space that's really small. And then I got imagining apartments or condos where you're right up and looking at somebody else's building, or and I stayed in a condo recently, and it was a nice condo, but I didn't get encouraged to like sit on the patio or anything because I was looking out on somebody else's building, and just that puts up barriers to me. So what I personally need, especially with the work I do, is expansiveness. I need to feel a sense of expansiveness around me and in where I'm living. So even though the space we're moving into is only 1,100 square feet, there is a sense of expansiveness in looking out and then around it. And so trying to just be very conscious and intentional of that was real important to me.
That's a really good point too. And a lot of people are living in spaces where they are looking at another apartment building. And the good news is there are remedies for that sort of thing. Like, you were fortunate with your moving, you could make that choice, but some people are just in that environment and they need to, that's just the only option at this time. And so that's where putting like 3-dimensional art, like views.
Oh, good idea.
Something that is almost like a window taking you out into a scene or something like that that's beautiful is a great thing to use in an environment like that. Or, you can put films on the windows where you can't really see, that stuff that I'm talking about. It kind of obscures the glass. And so, yeah, if you're lucky enough to be able to have a space where you can see out the window and see expansiveness and possibility, that's ideal. I mean,
yes.
Perfect. And if you don't, then create it.
Yeah. And what you were saying before is sometimes you can't see the possibility. When we were like almost mourning leaving this place because we knew we needed to leave this place, but we're kind of mourning it. It blocked my vision for what was possible. And once we settled that and we realized that we're going to do something that's going to be fun and adventurous, all of a sudden it's like the world opened up.
Well, and that's the other thing too, because when you're like kind of floundering around in this decluttering and making decisions and well, that's the key there. You haven't made a decision. When you're not committed,
that's it.
The next, or to being free to possibility, then it doesn't appear.
And you think, and you keep, what you're waiting for is it for it to appear first.
You are. We're all waiting for it to appear so we can finally let go over here and grab on over here. But there's going to be that time you have to make the decision to let go of the trapeze, as some people explain it, you have to let go of the trapeze. There's a moment in time where you're hanging, with nothing until you grab on the other end, and you have to kind of be able to be okay with the fear. You've made the decision.
That's right.
Confident and have faith that it's going to work out, and then the right thing will appear on the other side.
Yeah, I love it. It's true. Somebody wanted to join with us. If you wanted to come back and give it another try for our open seat, we have a few minutes left, and please give it another try here. All right. I think it's Amini. It could be your name. Oh, here she is. Okay. Him, her. It says audio only. Well, hi, can you hear us, or can we hear you? Oh, okay. Never mind. Thank you, Blade. All righty.
I don't know what they're talking about, but
yes. Well, we decided that probably wasn't a good idea here.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think that we've covered, I think, a lot of territory tonight. So tell us, I know that you have a couple things that you're offering to people to help them. If there's anybody that listens to this and is finding themselves in need of support, do you have something that you want to share or offer?
Well, yes, I do have a couple of things for anybody that would like. You can go to my website, www.thebeautifullivingcoach.com, and I do offer a free consultation. So someone like Rocco, if you wanted to talk to me a little bit about your needs, we could do that. I'm also doing a free teleclass next Thursday, and the topic is going to be a lot about creating a sanctuary for yourself at this time of year when it's so hectic and busy. And I really want to help people to find a space in their home or in their life to retreat. So yeah, go to my website again, and you can see where you can sign up for that free teleclass.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Okay. So what website do they go to again?
www.thebeautifullivingcoach.com.
Thebeautifullivingcoach.com. I love that. I love that. Thank you, Laurel. Thank you. So I would like to also invite anybody who's interested, if you want to begin your 2016 in a space of talk about sanctuary at the Lowe's Coronado Bay Resort. You're coming, right, Laurel?
Yes.
Yes. And I'm sorry, never mind, I'm not going to pay attention. Yes, we are having this amazing business retreat, spiritual and business retreat, because what I love to do is combine spirituality in with business, because I think that spirituality grounds us, and I think you would agree with that, right? It grounds us and elevates us and empowers us. I mean, it just gives us so much, right?
So much.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of people feel like there's a disconnect between spirituality and business. When I find, after having worked in law, finances, in the business world, when you connect those together, you got a much more powerful, joyful, fulfilling business than ever. So that's what we do in January. We come together, I help you get elevated, enriched. We've got some great teachings. We've got time for you to really connect to God, connect to yourself. So go to createyourmagnificentyear.com if you're interested. And so if anybody has any questions about that, please feel free to contact me. So I think we're going to quit for today. And so, Blade, I thank you for being with us and for hanging out. All right. And
camera angle, huh?
I know it's kind of like
you two have the
good camera angle and my glasses between the two of us here.
Yeah.
I'll work that out.
It's fun. It is fun. So I'll talk to you all later.
Thank you so much for having me
You're welcome.
On your blog with you.
You're welcome. Oh, I just want to put in the space here. The beautiful coach, the beautiful living coach in the comment section.
Over here?
Yeah, off to the right. Yeah. And I'm going to just put create your magnificent year as well.
You can hear Marianne live every week or on demand 24/7 right here on Radio Star Worldwide.
And it's really too bad there are people that have to come along and just spoil it for others, aren't there? Certain hackers.
Does everybody see those comments?
I think that goes along with the recording at the end. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And let me see. Maybe, I think we can block them. Oh, good. Yeah. Good.
Someone's saying here, violation of federal law there. There's got the hacker. Okay.
Yeah, he talked about killing me.
Oh.
My husband being the former FBI agent.
Oh my goodness.